vi har glömt det.
Hi guys, how are you?
All right, let's see if they can see us. They can. Hello. Bye. One says. All right, feedback.
Let's see here.
Was this a dream? Hello.
Was it a dream?
Thank you. There's so many great things to read here in chat. I need to bring up this thing here so that we can see. Way too much. Okay, I'm just looking at this one. Cricket for meals. Now we go all to grade your work. Well, please go ahead. That would be great if you could. I guess the best things for us to do is just to pick some, if you have any questions really that you want us to answer, that's possibly, this is possibly a good time to do it. Whilst we're sat in, this is Bergen, the city that we live in, by the way, in the background, as you can see here with the water and the city. But if you guys have any questions, I guess that's...
I actually think we've been receiving some questions from earlier.
All right.
Maybe we should go through them. What do you guys think? We have a list here. I believe it's compiled in some Discord server or something.
Well, what you could do, you can have a look at them, and I can just start with the ones that are coming in here. If you look in the chat.
Let's go.
Yeah, I see, for instance, that Max Gold Camp, I believe, is saying, "What's your favorite synth?" Now we obviously do have a vast selection of favorite synths, and we like to combine them. But the two that we seem to come back to quite so often, every so often, is the Korg MS-20 and the Uno 106, which we've had since we were kids at the age of 12 and 13. Having said that, there are several others that we like. We do use the Korg Poly 6, the Yamaha CS80, most notably used by Vangelis, alongside a string of other things. But there you go, Max. That's some.
So let's do some from the previous questions here.
Should we do one, like you do one there and I go to chat? And blah,
yeah.
Blah, blah. Let's do that. Let's try that. So people don't have to linger.
All right. How long will the live shows of the True Electric Tour be? How long the set will be, I assume. Let's see. We usually play at least quite a bit more than an hour. That's for sure. And it's a little bit up to the venue as well. Sometimes they do have curfew and stuff like that we have to take into consideration. But it's fair to say that 90 minutes plus, don't come complaining if it has to be shorter, because sometimes there are unforeseen things. But we aim to play for more than 90 minutes. That's for sure.
True indeed. Okay, scrolling through here, a lot of synth things. What's your favorite DAW? Well, and VST to use, analog or digital. That's from Connor Vibes. We tend to use Ableton Live as the most commonly used DAW.
Yeah.
And we, as said many times before, we like to combine analog equipment. We have a lot of that, obviously. Alongside state-of-the-art digital VSTs, but also electroacoustic instruments such as, bass and guitars and so on, plus the purely acoustic instruments such as strings and flutes and pianos and all that stuff. So a big mix, a great big palette is what we need. You don't want to limit yourself in terms of the colors you use, just to be cheesy.
Yeah, and we don't also believe that the DAW you use really is that important. Whatever is comfortable to the artist is what should be used.
I see also, and please forgive us, or me rather, if I mispronounce your name in chat. That's one of those things. Yours truly, Klee, says, how are you guys now feeling after this release? Great. Sat here with you guys, yeah. And the heartwarming reception you're giving us is, that's what makes it worthwhile. Yeah. So we've done this now, and now we can move on to other projects, which is a great thing as well. And we're happy with what we've done. So, yeah. And again, thank you for investing your time and all that stuff in our music. That's, that you're the reason why we're still sat here. So you should know that.
I think 51-year-old Robert from, I don't know where, he's asking, in our coming up European concerts, will there be singers in the gigs? Or should I expect a concert with only your music and no vocals? I think it will be a very electric show, meaning that a lot of the vocals will be on the computers. This is due to what we already wrote in the chat, some sort of post ripples from the pandemic and planning issues. And we have decided to make it into a really immersive experience. And we just hope people come with an open mind. And we promise you it's going to be a journey, a real journey, regardless of whether or not we have singers. So we know that some people would want to see us with all the singers, and hopefully one day we can make that happen.
Yeah.
That's not fair to say, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not really down to us. One has to remember that the artists that we work with in the studio, they are not ours to play around with. They have their own careers and lives and whatnot, which might not coincide with our touring plans. It's just the way it is. But, we're all friends and all that. I just saw a fun one from Pablo here in chat, and he asked, any funny stories from your Coachella set? Well, what I can say is that at that time we performed with the beautiful Jonna from I Am I, Who Am I, the Swedish wonderful artist. And during the show, she jumped from, I believe, on my side of the stage.
Yeah.
On my
riser.
A big riser, exactly. And in front of us. And she broke her ankle. And that was during the first track, I think. So as a true trooper, she performed the full set with a broken foot, just high on adrenaline. And that, that's, I don't know how funny that is, but it's a true story. And, kudos to Jonna. The show must indeed go on.
In the compiled questions here, we do have a lot of questions from, for instance, Andrew Bailey and Paul Rooney and some others here. There are lots of questions about the upcoming tour. And who we're taking. I think we've replied to that somewhat. And whether we come to the US, we don't have anything scheduled for the US, and we get that question quite a lot. We will see, and we hope to do something perhaps after the summer in 23. Let's just see where this journey takes us and take one tour at a time, I think, is the most sensible thing right now. Lots of stuff going on.
There's a really, well, it's even labeled a very important question from the Laminatrix, yeah. And the question is as follows: where would you rather live? Inside Princess Secret Vault, on Björk's scenic island in Iceland, or inside Florian Schneider's flute case? I would possibly opt for the last one. Very big on the great late German, whom it has to be said, we met. So
that's indeed a very funny story.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm going to go there.
I think it takes too much time right now. But the answer would be in the flute case of Florian Schneider.
Clara asks, I worship Kate Bush and love you guys as well. Can we pretty please get your cover of Wuthering Heights? Yeah, we did some years ago, a cover version of Wuthering Heights with Anneli Drecker. who performed the vocals live. I don't believe we ever did a recording of that.
No, we did not, because I don't know why, but yeah, it was part of one of our US tours. So I remember we played it in LA and we played it in San Francisco, I remember. Yeah.
And New York.
And New York as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, there you go. But we tend to mix things up when we play live. We just need to be entertained. That's why the shows and the tracks and all that stuff changes from
Every tour.
From every tour and so on. Yes.
And even between gigs.
Well, we should look for it. That we might have some Wuthering Heights residue hidden in the hard drives of Röyksopp. But yeah, a good idea indeed. That could be a wonderful lost tape, I think. Then there is a name, I don't know how to pronounce this. Is that an I? Jorte Grauten. I don't know if it's German. You're going to make more music after this, right? Indeed we are. Yes, we will continue as long as we can. Yeah, we enjoy this too much. And you need to let us know when we turn rubbish, because that's when we quit.
Antoine wants to know, may you elaborate on the making of the synth bass in Vision 1? There's a funny story that I think it was the remake or second film from Independence Day. A studio in Hollywood approached us about that bass because they wanted that bass to be the sound that the aliens made in that movie. But
what was that again? I lost track. The
synth bass or the squelchy bass.
Oh yeah. Yes.
The thing, our little trick and recipe, like a chef's super recipe. And obviously we could tell you guys, but we think it's funny that we don't tell you. And let's just keep it that way.
Not because we're evil. It's just that little, it's good. It's nice to have a little.
We said no to a big Hollywood company just to be able to say that we have that little secret. So it's become a thing now for us.
Right. So I'm completely lost track of where we are with this, but I see that there is some great love for Anneli Drecker, whom Torbjorn mentioned, from Wuthering Heights. Your next job will be in 8 years. Don't make us wait. No, we will not do another triple album again in the foreseeable future. So I doubt it's going to be 8 years. And that was, again, pardon for the pronunciation, Ernest Luna, I think. Yeah. So it's going to be shorter. There is also from Nathan Laurindo. You work with amazing people. How does your collaboration process work? Which artists do you still want to collaborate with? We feel that we have been lucky enough to be working with the artists that are on the top of our list, people that are brilliant in their field and interesting to work with as artists and people. We don't really have an ideal sort of, it would be nice to work with this person.
No, it's always a tough question. People want us to have like a little wish list.
Yeah.
But finding collaborators is part of the composing with Röyksopp. I feel it's fair to say that as the ideas develop and grow, so does the desire and need for the right voice. It doesn't start with the need for the right voice. It comes out of the creative process. And we are even surprised ourselves by our where we go sometimes in terms of vocalists, and we will not stop our search for interesting and new talents, and also we probably, if they let us, come back to some of the talents we worked with so far.
Indeed, I think it's one has always one need to remember that it's not necessarily given. There's no correlation between an artist's notoriety or level of fame and the level of quality of music they make. It's not as if the most famous name necessarily is the best artist. There seems to be some sort of, I don't know, thing there. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna jump to this one, and that was Andy Porter. Who are your heroes? Well, I think the musical heroes are quite evident. That would be the pioneers of electronic music, obviously, the ones that Torbjorn and I listened to when we were kids, being Depeche Mode, Kraftwerk, Vangelis, Yellow, Art of Noise, KLF, to mention but a few. Obviously, there's a lot more, but they are very important in terms of our formative years. Now, other than that, moving outside of music, I'd say, personally, people like Stanley Kubrick and Christopher Hitchens springs to mind, to mention two. And what do you, Torbjorn?
Sort of the nameless, selfless people who risk their lives for others. Obviously, like if you can help out someone who charities that goes to groups like Doctors Without Borders who help people with risk to their own. They could be comfortable in a safe place, but they venture out where people are in need and help them. They are big people, and they're also heroes in a different way.
True indeed.
There's so many questions here.
Okay, Timu Luma, can you tell us a bit about your production methods? How do you split the work between you two? Well, we sit like this, just as we do when we perform live, and as we've done ever since we were kids. We literally sit like this, and there is no real splitting, I'd say.
And also not to the disappointment of some, it seems, especially journalists, like a set method. Because it feels like people want us to say sometimes, well, we do have a ritual where we always turn on this synth first, and then tune the guitar, and then drink a glass of lukewarm water, and then we're set. But every day is different, and I think that's why we still do this, because as we were researching something about how the brain functions, and when you get into a flow state, it seems that you can't really get into that real creative good place if it's too easy. There's got to be some sort of incremental change in difficulty in your creative life, and I think we've balanced finely on that to be able to keep going after all these years.
Also, I think there's a perception which is kind of a relic from the heydays of the band, the group, the Beatles. There's one guy playing the drums, one the guitar, one the bass, and there's that kind of stuff. Who did I miss? There's a second guitarist, obviously, in the Beatles. But we don't have that. We don't have a guitarist and a drummer. We both play the guitar and the drums and the pianos and all that stuff. So it really is a twin effort where we also bounce ideas back and forth.
Here's a nice one from Yakov. How do you know when a track is done and ready to be released? What should happen? That's a good question. And it's a good question because we've been given the opportunity to think about this question since we've had it from others, especially aspiring producers and musicians, composers and singers. Like, how do you know when it's done? And in reality, it's not something that we've given any thought. It's just something that we know. Isn't that right, Svein? It's not like we just need this little bit more compressor and then it's done. It's not done until it's done. It's impossible at least for the two of us to quantify that, put it into words. It's just the track speaks back to us and says, "Bye, guys."
I guess it's a very poor comparison, but when making a meal, you add that much salt and that much whatever, and you go, this is fine. It's now perfect. This is right for me. That kind of thing. Okay, let's move on. Sean Manning, did you guys have the Profound Mysteries trilogy in mind when making The Inevitable End? Not specifically the triple album. It would be nice to say yes, but we did not. However, when we made Junior and Senior, we were discussing how fun and interesting it would be to make a double album, but we felt it didn't work with junior and senior, so they become, you know, related but not a double thing. But after, so it's that idea of doing something big, like larger than life kind of thing, that we feel a triple album has been lingering, but it didn't really become solidified until after the Inevitable End. So yeah, that answered the question.
Seems someone wants to travel to Norway. Tristan, for instance, Tristan Bailas wants to go to Tromsø, our hometown, to visit to experience the aurora.
Well, not native town, I have to say, because this is our hometown now. But
native is what I meant.
Yes, sorry.
Where we were born, Tromsø in northern Norway, to see the aurora borealis. And I just almost wanted to
I want to come along, but yeah.
And the thing is, we are from Tromsø, and we've seen many tourists come, and if it's overcast in the period you are there, you won't see it. No. So it's a little bit of a gamble. It's like going to see a very hidden or shy animal. It might come out, it might not. So bear that in mind. And Tromsø is a good place to go to. He's asking for alternatives to Tromsø. If you have the opportunity to travel out of the city with a car, go inland and away from the light pollution. Tromsø does have some light pollution. So if you could do that, that's even better.
Spend 1 hour in a car, preferably into the country. Other than that, just to add, I guess round about now is a good time to see it in northern Norway, or I'd say late January, early February is an excellent time. We tend to go in February. Anyway, Leon Rosenzweig, is that it? I think so. Did you two had some difficulties on creating your tracks? Well, we obviously, yes, you push and you meet a wall every now and then, but that's the good thing about being two guys. We kind of fight it together, not each other, but the difficulty. So we certainly did. I think sometimes mixing vocals and getting them right, if you don't get it right, that's a bit of a nuisance. I think that's the place where we sometimes can find difficulties, getting that right, and finding its place in the mix and so on, and making it speak with the right sentiment. So there's a lot of those things, but not to the point where Torbjorn and I are doing that thing. There's no Phil Spector moments when we work together, sadly.
Our good supporter Acceptable wants to know, and amongst others, wants to know about the lost tapes, what's going to happen. And we don't really say too much about what we are going to do before we are doing it. That's what is saying. But there's only one vinyl release from Lost Tapes, and there are more tracks that are not on vinyl, so it kind of is inevitable that we will at least go for a second vinyl from Lost Tapes, and maybe I think the journey will take us even further. Don't want to promise anything, but that's why I'm talking like this, because I don't want to promise anything. We might, get into a different project that could take up all our energy, but Lost Tapes is dear to us.
Yeah. There's a question here from Bourget, Maui Elitist. I probably killed that name, sorry. Killed meaning butchered, by the way, not nailing it. Are both of you into electronic vehicles, and are they a big thing in your country? Yes, we like electric cars, and they are indeed a big thing in Norway. I think we are at the forefront when it comes to distribution of electronic cars. So Norway can be proud, but then again, so should Norway, given the oil and all that stuff. So I think it's only fair game, to be fair.
There's lots and lots of questions about what to expect on tour, and I think we've said our little piece about what it's going to be, and I think we will just leave you with this word, immersive.
Hughes, have you collaborated with Morten Harket? No, we have not. That would be fun. I mean, he's I don't know, how old is he? He's he's getting on, but the man can still sing, and an immaculate jawline still to this day, which has little to do with his singing, but still one has to celebrate it. That would have been fun, though. Ninsti, I love you guys. Why don't you ever come to Vienna? Well, we've been to Vienna. I do not know. It's just, again, one of these things that we really want to travel and visit everyone, but we're not the ones making the demand, really. And also, as Torbjorn touched upon briefly, the world is still in a bit of an odd state, as you might know. So it kind of all boils down to that. But certainly, there's no animosity against Vienna on our part. We'd love to go. The times we've been in the past has been great. So yes.
Why do you tour so rarely? A lot of people have asked, it seems, or maybe sort of encouraged us to go more on touring. And what I can say about that is that we want every tour that we've done to be different and special and unique. So we put a lot into that, and the same with our albums. So it is a labor of love every time, and we don't want to force anything or fake anything or make anything that we don't 100% are into. So I guess that's we just take our time. It's fair to say. That's why we don't tour as much as some other bands.
I see a name that I recognize here. Someone we know. His name is Bert, and he asks when there will be an official Röyksopp Shuffleboard Championship. Well, that will come.
That will come. I'll comment. Be the commentator.
Torbjorn will comment, and I will make a fool of myself. Amman Rock. Why wasn't Where You Ever Wanted included like a normal track in Junior? Well, it has to do with how we piece together the album. We love the track, obviously. That's why we made it. But we felt it didn't fit in the album. It's just sometimes these things work that way. It's a brilliant track, but that's again why we created Lost Tapes, to find a room for these tracks that we truly and dearly love, but that we couldn't find space for, in our heads at least, on the albums they relate to. Hope that answers the question. Sebastien Boulenzou, 22 years career. How do you guys feel about it? Old when you put those numbers together, but not really. I think Torbjorn and I met in 88, I believe it was, when I was 12 and he was 13, and that's when we started making our own music together. So that's some time ago. Yeah, I mean, we're still doing it. We feel good, or I do at least.
He does.
50% is okay. The other guy is
being flogged to keep on going.
Exactly. That was okay.
There's a lot of nice things in this compilation of questions, and also in the chat. And we've typed it out in the chat, and I think we need to say it. I don't think we can say it enough, that it's overwhelming and almost unreal to see all the positive feedback and love from you guys, and makes me feel bad that we can't really tour more.
Yes.
Because there's people want us to come to Denmark, people want us to come to Portugal, there's Brazil, there's the US and Asia. There's so many places that we hear from you guys, and it's overwhelming, and obviously we feel that we should do more, but we know that we do have limits.
And it's
So,
not really
yeah.
always down to us. It must
No,
be
that's true.
repeated.
That's
It's,
true.
you know, that thing again. We'd love to tour. We'd love to come and visit. There's no animosity. It's just time, because we obviously want to make the music and all that stuff. There was one interesting thing, and it just went away. That was painful. I'm going to jump to this then. Stephanie White, do you listen to singers to match your music and the spirit of the songs? It seems so. Well, you're perfectly right, Stephanie. We do listen to a lot of singers, and we try to find artists that we feel match the sentiment of the song that we're about to make or have made. You know, we might want a certain sentiment for a song, and we think, oh, this artist would be brilliant for this one. And you know, we often also shape the song accordingly. So we might even write lyrics that we think will be a good match for the artist in question. So that's one of the processes that we, you know, are dealing with when making music. Yeah. So the answer is yes.
Seems a guy named Steve wants to know, will you make more long epic songs like Rescue and play once like that, and Shores of Easy live more often? We might do in a different type of live set at some point, where one dream of ours is to do a live set where people are sat in an auditorium, where it's a little bit of a different energy. Mostly when we play live, as you might know, we go for energetic because it's fun and it's a good time. At some point, especially if our beards get any grayer, we should definitely do a sit-down concert.
Torbjorn has the lead, by the way, for those not looking at the screen.
Yeah.
On the beard. Or I'm dyeing my stuff. That might be. That might be. Who's to tell?
All right. So yeah, thanks for mentioning hidden tracks like Rescue and Shores of Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, we will keep on doing those things as well.
And there's a combined thing here from Dustin Schnick and Monique Rom. Well, Monique Rom asks, who is the artist of your psychedelic figures in your videos? Which coincides with Dustin Schnick's question. How long did it take Jonathan Savada to create all of your visualizers? And how much, if any, input did you have on the content within? So, Monique, the answer is Jonathan Savada, who's an Australian artist that we love and admire. He has spent a lot of time on making these 30, no less, visualizers, as well as making this wonderful artwork for the project. We do have a lot of common conversation and dialogue on how to do this, but at the end of the day, he's the man who's done it. We had some ideas of making a visual representation unique to each of the tracks, which also could embody a profound mystery, which is obviously a very tall order. And Savada had a couple of ideas, and we, all of us, meaning Torbjorn, myself, and Jonathan, really loved his idea on doing these artifacts. You know, it's all his work.
We've also gone in because we could, I guess, talk about the origin of this idea longer. Mm-hmm. But I guess we've done it in other forums. We've been on some podcasts and done long form interviews in some magazines where we talk more about the inspiration that we brought to the table before Jonathan took over and signed off on this project.
Exactly. It's a matter of throwing in references and preferences and likes and do not likes and so, or mostly likes.
There
Yeah.
seems like there's someone who wants to see what's
I just want to say,
Yeah.
please check out his other artwork as
Yeah.
well. He's brilliant. Savada with a Z and a W.
Yeah, he should be ashamed.
Yes.
Someone wants to see what's in the box. Should we?
Oh, you can't read it. Okay,
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
It was a bit of a rude thing, so we're gonna leave it.
Yeah, we are sometimes a little bit rude.
Mm.
And if someone wants to see what's in the box, should we open it?
Please restock those Röyksopp baseball caps. I need them. Oh, Torbjorn, what's this?
The box.
I guess that's what they're referring to. They ask what's in the box.
Or is the layman configuration for any pop cultural freaks?
Or what's in the box?
Exactly, could be 7. I know what's in the box.
But this box doesn't have any nasty surprises.
Whilst you're opening the
Yeah.
box, or is that happening now?
I think so. Let's
Okay, yeah,
have a
you
look.
are. Okay, well,
So
let's see.
this is the box set. It's see-through.
It's a solid. I think you're doing the unboxing highly. Isn't it supposed to be?
It's my first unboxing. Okay,
Okay.
give me some slack.
I
man.
am giving you some slack now. I'm going to put that away. I'm gonna
Yeah, I've not been much of an unboxing fan myself. I just, want to show at least just really quickly if you could hang on to this.
Yes, I'm going to put it like
What it
this.
looks like. And this is the inside.
Ooh.
And this smells really vinyl-y and interesting.
This became an infomercial now. I'm afraid to say. I'm going to put. See,
It's
we're
the-
losing battery on the
it's the
thing. Somebody has
salesman.
kicked it
Salesman
out.
kicking it. There you have it.
Okay, I'm going to put this here because we're losing battery, as you see.
Let's do it.
Sorry for being so professional. Så vill jag sticka. Du vet.
What's the story behind 2 different tracks with the same melody lyrics? Different singer and instrumental, Unity and Feel It?
It's not completely the same lyrics, by the way.
No, and we touched upon it in
Not the same melody.
the chat. I think it's fair to say that there was some sort of fork in space-time at some point, and the result is Unity and Feel It.
There is a kinship, obviously, between the two, but it makes. Sorry.
I'm just putting this away, but
You should show the booklet, by the way,
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's do the booklet as well.
or some of the booklet because that's pretty darn nice, I think. Ooh.
Something like this.
Yeah, that's only-
Obviously, it doesn't really come across here. We're not doing it any service. We're just showing
Yeah.
you guys that it exists.
Yes.
That's the whole point of this. It exists, and there's something in the box, and it's not evil.
Okay, I'm jumping over to Stefano C. We want a documentary about Röyksopp since the beginning. Oh well, thank you, Stefano. We appreciate the sentiment. We, although we're sat here now chatting to you guys, we're not too high on showcasing ourselves and so on. We think the music should be the hero of Röyksopp. So as for now, we don't have any such thing planned. I'm sorry to say, but we're here. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's not like we're calling people. Could we?
Yeah.
Could we have a documentary, please?
Yeah. We're
we-
not too.
Yeah.
We're not too big on fame. We like to be, keep hidden. Okay. Robert Riviera, favorite drink? Well, I guess water is high on my list. I also like low-fat, what's it called? Skimmed milk. In terms of other beverages, I'd say red wine and rum would be my sort of, that's a spectre.
Everywhere I come across, because I don't really come across them that often, those hotels that have a machine that squeezes oranges into a glass.
You hate those?
Can we get rid of those, please?
Okay, sorry.
Next one.
Yep.
Cliché question. But what's your driving force? And the guy who is so humble that he calls his own question a cliché question is called Scott Covendale. What's your driving force of inspiration, and how do you keep your creative flame lit? Also, thank you for Melody AM, my soundtrack to every sunset. We'll start with the end of the question, which is more of a praise. It is kind of awe-inspiring when people say that we have become, or our music have become, soundtracks, or integral parts of their lives, and it never stops being a little bit unreal to hear when people say that we have had such an impact in their moments of the most emotional they've been. It's crazy, and that's also part of our driving force, because as Sven said, without you guys we wouldn't have been doing this. We wouldn't have continued, because we put so much into it, so much of ourself and goes into this that we couldn't have had this as some sort of hobby that doesn't have anyone in the other end. That wouldn't have happened. So thank you, and that's how we keep it going.
True. Okay, I think, should we speed it up so that I don't know how to do this. Should we speed it up so we get more questions in?
Yeah, let's do so.
Yeah, I don't know if that's right. We're going to try that, and if not, please give us a notice. Iggs says, will you be repressing old vinyls? Yes, we hope to do so. However, the line is long. There's a lot of the major artists that want to do, or they're first in line, hogging all the vinyl plants. But we want to do so, but we are obviously not major artists, so we are in the back, the old game. And then Ernie Tech says, studio or tour, which do you prefer? We like both, but slightly in favor of studio, because it's an environment that we have complete control over. However, being not in complete control is also attractive. So you need both.
That's a really good answer.
Isn't that a good answer?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I wrote the question to myself. Okay, all right. So let's get a bit silly. Somebody wants us to be silly. That's good.
All right, here's an easy one.
Okay.
Besides making music, what do Svein and Torbjorn like to do in their spare time? What are your hobbies? I just think my hobby is the outdoors. Not in any sort of competitive manner, just existing outdoors and soaking in what is the earth without human interference, and being alive inside of all that is a trip in itself. That's my greatest hobby.
It has to be said that our hobby, again, the thing that we had as a hobby as a kid, has become our livelihood, i.e. music. So it's still a hobby. So that's the biggest hobby still. But just like Torbjorn, I also do enjoy nature and the outdoors. And it's possibly one of many reasons why we still reside in Norway, because of the great nature and scenery that we appreciate in our close proximity.
Was moving away from sampling other artists' tracks in your music a conscious decision? Yes, it was, and it has to do with copyright, and the death of sampling happened some years ago. There seems like, and this is all really technical, I'll just be real quick, there's a new thing where one can opt in on parts of copyright and get to use samples without the hassle of all the paperwork. So we might do more of that again in the future. Use samples, that is.
There's a question here from, where was it? I've lost it now. Mikoma. What about a collaboration with John Hopkins? That's a brilliant idea. We love good old Mr. Hopkins. He was also part of our tour some years ago. I don't know how many years, possibly 10.
In the US.
In the US,
Yeah.
yes, he was with us then, which was a great experience for us, and he's so talented. So that would be really nice. Yeah, good idea, great idea.
Miles G wants to know, what do you, seniors, like in a building? Do you have thoughts on architecture?
Indeed, we have. What we like, well, to me that's like again asking when's a track finished kind of question.
You kind of just know.
You kind of just know, yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I do not like that one, but I do like that one. We were just now like a couple of days ago in Tbilisi in Georgia in Europe, which had some quite extraordinary and interesting architecture. So we literally walked for a full day just looking at buildings and houses. So yes,
we're into it, and there's something called feng shui, which I really don't know much about, but the idea is that that's a much stricter sort of philosophy that I wouldn't pretend to be an expert on, but the feeling that something just sits right, a room can be right, the placement of the bed, or where you have your head in a room, sometimes just feels wrong. You go into a room and say, oh, this is all backwards. You don't want to be there. Obviously, that's a personal experience, but we gravitate to places where we have those feelings. And I think both Sven and I likes, we don't necessarily need the sort of big, lush, spacious indoor places, like humongous halls and all of that. We're more into, tight rooms and, efficient use of space.
like the room we have here.
Yeah.
This is obviously inside. Jorge, is that how you say it? I think so. Jorge, Arturo, Jorge? I don't know. Sorry, again, we do not speak Spanish. Arturo Sanchez asks, have you had influence on your clothing, for example, from Jean Giraud? Indeed, we have. And not only the clothing, because one of the things, the common ground that Torbjorn and I where we befriended as kids was the artwork of Jean Giraud, further known as Möbius, a French comic artist and just a true genius, like a literal genius. It's a word and phrase that's being thrown around willy-nilly, but in his case, it's true, we think. The first project that Torbjorn and I and two other guys did, sort of in the late 80s, early 90s, was actually called Adana Cycling, which is a clear reference to Jean Giraud. So his art has been influential on us and remains to be even to this day.
Yves Corman wants to say that a collaboration with the Flashbulb would be great, and that's crazy. I haven't heard anyone name drop that artist in many years. We love the Flashbulb, and we've listened to it a lot. It's like some kindred musicianship going on there. Hopefully it's mutual, but we like him.
Yeah.
That would be great.
And I just want to tag along here. Ernie Texas, here in the States, Möbius, again, Jean Giraud, the previous question I answered, was big in heavy metal magazines. And we subscribe to heavy metal. So, sci-fi, comics, all that stuff. And then there was a question. Skogland. That might be Norwegian, Skogland, or Danish. The real ultimate question is, I've been wondering for years, did you guys ever play Fortnite? I've tried it when it came, and I just, I'm too old. I don't have the fine, dexterity to operate all the features. But obviously the two of us have played a lot of computer games over the years. But Fortnite is for the next gen. We are the what's called T800. Fortnite is for the T1000. For those who took that reference.
Connor Vibes wants to know, do you ever experience producer creative block? Never. Okay.
Okay.
Not as it's described in popular culture. I see like a person behind a typewriter, you know, just being frustrated and not getting the words down on paper. We just when we're together, I believe that there's some magical force that just takes care of us and helps us along, because we won't really struggle with that. It's more the other way. We don't have enough time to get it all out.
Yeah. True indeed. Mr. Spooky asks, can we hear you even more on other songs like Stay a While? You both have such great voices. I hope my questions will be heard. Well, you know, we enjoy doing that every now and then. It's just one of those things that we, when we started with Röyksopp, didn't have any intention or plans on doing. But again, as said over the years, we just like to be challenged in whatever minute scale, just, you know, push ourselves in one direction or the other. And singing is one of those little things. Often we use our voices to somehow set up the other artist, you know, creating a mood, setting an atmosphere, you know, in order to play up the other one. It's not needed, but you know, that kind of thing. It's like how to make dynamics or in cinematography, you know, how to build a scene. Really, that's what it is. You cannot cut straight to action. You have to build up to the action and so on. So we very often use ourselves in that regard. But thank you for the nice words, Mr. Spooky.
I have a good question here from KS. Will there be a commercial CD production of the last remix with Henry Saiz? Well, the good Henry Saiz, and if you're watching, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It's what you've done is crazy. It's amazing, and so much more than we asked for. You did 3 remixes, and they're all mind-blowing. I think they deserve some sort of physical, true format. Let's see what we can do when we compile the remixes from Profound Mysteries.
Please show a lot of love for that man. We should have some of his talent. We need that. Brent Allen asks, do you write strings arrangements yourselves or rely on a conductor to adapt songs for an orchestra? We do write the arrangement on MIDI, obviously samples and so on, but some voicing might be added, and there's a dialogue going on. With this particular project, we worked with a wonderful woman called Rosie Danvers, who's just brilliant, and she did an amazing job elevating our, you know, semi-poor arrangements into whatever they are. But we do have a say in the matter. It's not as if we just give her, you know, the 4 basic chords and, you know, please go hog wild. So there is some direction from us, but we rely on and we're open for the input from those in the know. It would be silly not to take advice, we think. So yeah, we're blessed to be working with the wonderful Rosie.
All right, I think it's going to be time for us to wrap up here and stroll along.
I'm just going to see what they say here. Sorry, we should probably do. Oh, there's so many things coming in here. Did you have a question, by the way, there?
Sorry if we just go on, you know, our eyes gravitate towards all these messages from you guys. It's so interesting to read, and we promised in chat that even we wouldn't be able to reply to everything. We promised to read every single word you guys write, and again, we appreciate it so much. You should know that.
Well put, sir. Well put, sir.
Yeah, I think we should do something like this again. It feels good, and it's easy and relaxing, and
it's the first time ever we've done that. So possibly all of you saw that and understand that. So we're pretty rubbish, but so things can only get better, I think.
Maybe we should get a real camera.
We should get a real camera, I think. And look at me, I'm sinking into my jacket.
No.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good look.
It's a good look. See, now I'm turtled out again. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much, and thank you for all the hearts and the love and all that jazz that's scrolling up and down here. We shall return, and sorry for the questions that we didn't see and all that stuff. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah. You guys know what to do if you want us to continue.
Yeah. Be safe, peace, and love to all of you. Bye-bye.